Hello out there. My name is Laolu Akonde, and you are on to Inside Sources. But first, here is my take for today. The first one is entitled, Calling Out ASUU. Where is the democratic spirit? Plus one commendation at the end. There's a silent but patently critical battle that is going on among our university teachers in this country. It is a fight between the older union, that is the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, and the Congress of University Academics, CONUA. Now, you expect that being an association that was nursed from the wombs of a collective interest-based ideology, the common good, and desirous of entrenching a democratic culture, certain allegations will be unheard from among ASUU. Now, I mean allegations of seemingly deliberate antagonistic and punitive actions by ASUU leaders against university teachers who choose not to join ASUU, that is, who are members of CONUA. For decades, ASUU has stood tall, and we must salute them. ASUU has fought many battles for our universities, and nobody can deny that. Now, let me make a bit of a biographical statement here. Only by the grace of God, we reported in the early 90s ASUU's confrontation against the military in defense of university teachers and the right projection for our university system in this country. We forced the issue as journalists, and it became front and center of a national debate. And then the Babangida administration of the day essentially surrendered eventually to ASUU, calling on Chief Olusegun Obasanjo to mediate a truce, then in 1992. Some of us were ASUU's comrades in arms in that battle. It was a noble venture, and some of us would do it again. That is to say, we come from a place of belonging when we talk about the university system and about ASUU. We come from a place of belonging. So why is ASUU now allegedly denying some CONUA members from benefiting in certain federal government emoluments, such as the Consolidated Academic Tools Allowance, specifically in the University of Jos and the Federal University of Lokoja? There are reports that ASUU is arguing that since that allowance came out of the FGN-ASUU agreement of 2025, only ASUU members can benefit. Imagine that. But good thing, the federal government has insisted, and rightly so, that the allowance, which runs to about 1 million naira for junior lecturers to over 3 million naira annually for professors, is for every university teacher that is employed either by the state or federal government. In that case, specifically, the federal government. Now, there's another even more devastating example. In the Kwara State University, the local chapter of ASUU has allegedly written the university vice chancellor and authorized, quote unquote, the bursar of the university to deny university teachers who don't pay their check-off dues to ASUU from benefiting from the new university salary package which came out of that federal government agreement, targeting CONUA members. Can you imagine how more tyrannically audacious can that ASUU local chapter be? So this is where we draw the line with ASUU on this matter. ASUU has tremendous influence, and that is a good thing, but ASUU does not have supremacy over any other union in the universities. In a country that is ruled by law and not by preference of any powerful group, no one union owns the voice of academics in Nigeria exclusively. It means that academics who choose another lawful union should not be punished for it. This is what ASUU is now allegedly doing in at least those 3 universities where the union is reportedly mounting pressure on the authorities of the universities to deny members of CONUA from benefiting from the new salary package and the allowance that came out of the agreement with the federal government. It is our view on Inside Sources that this is wrong. Konwa members should not be denied just because they are not members of ASUU. Fair is fair. They should not be treated unfairly. They should not be denied what is due to them. And this is not just our view. Like I said earlier, the federal government has spoken clearly. In its letter dated June 9, 2026, the federal government stated that the allowance recently released covering the professorial allowance and the hand academic allowance are for all eligible academics under the university payment system, which is CONWAS. Not some, but all. The emphasis was on transparency and due process. Now, we must talk about representation because that's the bigger issue here. No union, like I said, no matter how old or respected, can claim to speak for academics who are freely and lawfully chosen another union. That is not representation. That will be imposition. And representation without consent goes against the freedom of association and voluntary collective bargaining principles that Nigeria as a country has accepted under the High Hello Conventions. ASUU cannot and should not be found to be conducting itself in this way in any of the universities, and we hope that these allegations against ASUU are untrue. We run a democracy, and democracy is not built on control, it is built on choice, the freedom of choice. So this silent warfare between ASUU and CONWA is bigger than the two unions. It is about the soul of university unionism in this country. Plurality is no longer a request. It is something ASUU or anyone cannot hand out as a favor because it is a legal reality. It is a democratic culture, and it's already settled by our desire to have a democratic culture and also settled by our courts. Let the authorities in UniJOS, Federal University in Lokoja, and the Kwara State University pay CONWA members their allowances and the new salary packages as and when due. It is their right to receive the pay, and we shall keep an eye on this matter going forward. One last point of commendation. I'd like to commend the Minister of Defense statement that soldiers shouldn't wait for others to deal with terrorists. Now, that is one of the most resonating, useful, encouraging, inspiring statements about these terrorists from anybody in the federal government recently, instead of calling them brothers who need redemption or prodigal sons. There you have it. Inside Sources goes full blast right after this. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today I'm going to have a detailed conversation on the future of the country, specifically what is happening in 2027, some of the things that have happened lately, especially regarding ADC, regarding the move of my guest, from LP, from Mr. Obi, now to being the spokesperson of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And so I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources, who's been announced as the official spokesperson of the ADC presidential candidate, a lawyer, a well-known public commentator, and my very good friend, by the way. Ken, welcome back to Inside Sources.
It's always my pleasure being here. Yeah, and thank you, viewers, for joining us.
All right, so let's start from a very, what I consider to be very critical. The way 2027 is shaping out, in my view, is that, so we're going to have a repeat of what we have in 2023, where we have three, major contenders, who have already emerged. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has emerged from APC, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has emerged from ADC, and Mr. Peter Obi has emerged from NDC. Essentially, those are the big players. And the argument is that, that splintering is definitely going to be helpful for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as it was in 2023. I remember that the ADC people, when Obi was there and the rest of them said, look, we need to have a single presidential candidate. Now that you have become the spokesperson of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, tell me why you think 2027 is going to be different.
2027 is going to be absolutely different. In 2023, there was no incumbent. So all the leading candidates in 2023, they ran on prophetic declarations. They ran on predictions, propaganda. But now, in 2027, Tinubu is the incumbent president. So he can no longer run on propaganda. He can no longer base his performance on the predictions and prophecies of some people that are clairvoyant. He's going to run on his performance. So naturally, the midterm elections is a referendum on the performance of the incumbent. The question is, are Nigerians faring better today than they fared 4 years ago? This has always been the standard of judgment. The answer is no. Absolute no. Why? When Tinubu came in, Nigerians were paying 195 naira per liter. Today is 1,400 and fluctuates between 1,300. Naira was valued at 500 naira.
To a dollar.
Today, to a dollar. Today it is 1,400 or thereabout. The insecurity is now throughout the whole nation. The Southwest has been relatively insulated from major insecurity problems. Of course, there was always, a flare-up, but I've not heard anybody beheaded in the Southwest before now. And it is really disheartening that it is a regime of a son of Southwest that terrorists are now beheading people, school teachers, kidnapping principals, school pupils, school children, going to national park that ought to be a national asset to kidnap people and terrorize them in the ancient city of Ibadan, the pride of the Southwest, the first capital of the South, Oyo State.
Because it's not in Ibadan.
Yes, Oyo State.
Yeah.
Ibadan as in, describing Nigeria as Abuja.
Right.
Now, this is the pride of the Southwest, the first capital of the Southwest. And look at what is happening security-wise. When their son is supposed to be president, look at hunger. You can see the statistics, more than 130 million persons in poverty. Now, look at economic indices, both macroeconomic and microeconomic. Can you imagine? Let me tell you what will shock you. World Bank said 40% of the entire revenue that we make in Nigeria do not enter the budgeting system. So they start siphoning money even before it gets into the budgetary system.
The minister said that is not true.
That is what they will say. I'm talking about World Bank. And if these two people bring reports, I will be more interested in believing World Bank because they are an independent observer. Now, you saw what is happening in the allegations, where somebody is alleging that almost 50% of takeoff ground was asked by officials of government from him. That means the remaining 60%, if you take away 50% from it, that is another 30% going. So 30% from the 40%, 70% of our revenue is already filtered out in corruption. So you have only 30% of the revenue that is going on into the system. And IMF say 2% of the GDP is spent on non-budgeted issue, totaling about 8.8 trillion naira. Remove that from the remaining 30%, nothing is remaining. That is why this government has borrowed all the stipulated amount it will borrow. Yet, it is not transforming into anything meaningful in terms of infrastructure, in terms of security, in terms of every indices of government. In the health sector, all you hear every day is resident doctors threatening to go on strike, ASU threatening to go on strike, the civil servants pleading for their income to be increased.
Threatening to go on strike.
No, well, I've heard
it. That one.
I said threatening. I didn't say they've gone.
Okay.
So the issue here is that there is restiveness, and restiveness is based on corruption, not on availability. Now, Tinubu's economic system can best be described as Tinubu Lakara. Because you can see, it is only frying akara that the only thing you can do without power and without petrol. In Tinubu's government, power is unavailable, petrol is unaffordable.
Okay.
That is why the only thing they can create is the yalakaras.
Just so we can have a conversation,
You know?
let me just come in there, to make the exchange even more interesting. So let's assume, like you lawyer says, let's assume without conceding your argument. Why do you think it is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar that people will prefer other than Peter Obi? Especially those who think that, look, Nigeria's politics, the polity as it is, we need to find ways to resolve some of the mutual distrust at the level of political leadership, and then say, look, let's do a turn by turn, let's do a rotation. And so people said, okay, whatever it is, you take it 8 years in the south, you take it 8 years in the north. Now, there's an argument that would give Obi, who also have very clearly a very boisterous base. So my question to you, Ken, is that why do you think it is not Obi that we cash out, quote unquote, from these failures of the Tinubu? Why do you think people will trust Atiku?
Right. Let me take it that your question. Let me take it that your question means why would people prefer Atiku to Tinubu? Because he is the person.
No. Why people will prefer?
I am saying no to you because Tinubu is the government in power.
Look, you have argued, Ken.
Good.
Ken, you have argued that Tinubu has failed.
Good.
There are two. Nigerians have two options. They have Obi and Atiku. I'm saying to you that why do you think Nigerians will go with Atiku and not Obi?
Maybe you're not aware that INEC say there are 9 parties that have produced presidential candidates. Good. And I have respect for 9 of them. So my interest is why would people prefer Atiku Abubakar to Tinubu? There are 8 other persons, and there is none that is bigger than the other because they are all candidates. So why the preference of Atiku Abubakar? For me, every other person is inconsequential.
Okay.
Good.
Fair enough.
Now, we have to be very careful of these politicians that their only resume is that they had been a governor of a regional state. I have discovered that when they did not have any exposure on a national level politically, they maintained that their microscopic way of reasoning in terms of administration. They carry along that their microscopic loyalists, which they are bringing from their regional quarters. This is exactly what Tinubu is doing. He's not even doing Southwest. That Lagos axis of his loyalists, they are still the people that are central to his government. And you can see the disaster that they are foisting on the Nigerian nation. Now, Atiku Abubakar has been exposed as a civil servant for 20 years, who went around the whole nation, who mixed with all people. He was in paramilitary. That experience of being a nationalist, that is why it's always embedded in him. Atiku Abubakar won the gubernatorial election in Adamawa, and Obasanjo compelled him to come and join him to be the vice president. And for 8 years, he was vice president with utmost humility and with a sense of responsibility. That 8 years is still the best for us in terms of economy, in terms of security. I said comparatively. Because
I am embarrassed.
It is embarrassing that from 1999 to 2007, when we ought to be improving, we are going back to say they are still the best. Why? That means we have been retrogressing because they met the debt of about $40 billion. And they paid it off and left us with almost $40 billion as external reserves. And they met oil price at $9 per barrel. Obasanjo. I remember a senator going to Obasanjo saying that means we are technically bankrupt. When Obasanjo was telling them, look at what we have in the coffers. So the issue here is this. The gap is so much. Atiku Abubakar was the head of the economic management team. And that was why he was able to discover all those internationally recognized economists that came in to show up our banks, to show up our economy, to make policies that consolidated the banking industry, that changed the FCT and returned it back to its original plan, and made sure that our security is watertight. We didn't have terrorism. We didn't have any insecurity challenge. Not that they did not raise their ugly head, but immediately they raise their ugly head, they are cut off. So, in terms of national exposure, Atiku Abubakar has been a nationalist and is still a nationalist. All the other people, by whatever name call, they are tin gods of their locality, of their religion. Is it not absurd that Tinubu will pick a fellow Muslim to contest with him? And he said no other northern Christian was competent. And that was why he chose a fellow Muslim. What an insult, and an assault to their psychological well-being. Because this is the only very few opportunity that a northern Christian can find himself in the Aso Villa. And as a person who is inclusive, if you go to Atiku Abubakar's house, you will not know who is a Christian. You will not know who is a Muslim. You will not know who is a northerner. You will not know who is a southerner.
But the president's wife is also Christian, Ken. The president's wife is also Christian.
Oh,
so, you know.
Laolu, have you joined the team that wants to bring an unelected first lady into the governmental system of Nigeria?
That's what I'm saying.
That is absurd. In America,
because you are saying
what power
that
does
the
a
House
wife
of
of a
Atiku,
president?
You are saying
So
it's fair to talk about the House of the president.
No, what I'm saying is that Atiku has fought the issue of discrimination from the one. He has contested for how many times? For 3 times. For the president. Okay. He never chose anybody who is from the same religion or from the same section with him.
Okay.
And he positively fights any appearance of such injustice.
Okay, so you've spoken.
So a man with such economic experience, nationalistic experience, and fairness in his heart is what we need now.
All right, excellent.
And why am I saying this? I am not presenting anybody as a saint. Because democracy does not operate in sainthood. We are not looking for a pope. We're not looking for an imam. Democracy operates with your available options. Who is better than the other?
Okay, Ken, let's, like I said, let's have a conversation.
Good. So that is why I believe that Atiku will be the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So you've made the case,
Yes.
Now I want you to respond to the case, the counter case, which is now being actively pushed against Atiku and against yourself. Now, they said that you yourself had said in the past, this is what Obedience put out, and I'm sure that you've seen it, that you yourself have said in the past that Atiku is corrupt. That's number one.
Thank you very much.
Now, and they said that Atiku himself, on the record, came out to say that, look, myself and Obasanjo, we failed on the question of power. We wasted money. So the question people are saying, the Obedience in particular, are saying that, look, give somebody who hasn't all these baggages another opportunity. Let's leave all these old soldiers with their baggage and give Nigeria a fresh start. How do you respond to that, Ken?
Very good. First and foremost, I said that Obasanjo said that Atiku. It was not my statement. I cited the source. I cited Obasanjo's book. That was a reported speech. So if you want to hold...
Who also said that who is not endorsing Atiku by the way? Who is not endorsing Atiku by the way?
No, it's immaterial.
Okay.
You have 220-something million persons, and everybody has the right to endorse everybody.
Because you align Atiku with Obasanjo's successes.
No, why? Of course, he's the vice president.
Okay.
And then the head of the economic management team.
So Obasanjo's view is important. That's what I'm saying.
No. Your view, Laolu, is extremely important. You're a distinguished journalist, a former spokesperson in the presidency.
Thank you.
We should stop thinking. My belief is that as long as democracy is concerned, one man, one vote. Everybody is equal.
Yeah, no.
As a lawyer, as far as the law is concerned, everybody is equal before the law.
But you are making the point before I interrupted.
Very good. So what I am saying is that, strictly speaking, Atiku Abubakar left office 2007 and has been in opposition from then till now.
Well,
how many years?
Not always opposition.
No.
Because it was part of APC at the point.
APC contested and lost in the primary.
But he was a member of
and
APC.
joined. That's what I'm saying. He could and joined.
So at that
That's what
time
I'm
he was in opposition. That's what I'm saying.
But he was still opposed to Buhari as an opponent.
Anyway, but when Buhari won, he even gave Buhari structure. So he was in opposition at that point. Good. That is material, you know.
No, it's material.
Okay.
Why is it material? From 2007 till now, a man has been in the opposition. At least he has not been a member of, as in, he has not been in power. And no government has investigated him. No government has indicted him to take him for corruption and then to find him guilty.
Is that not the problem?
And you think that...
Ken, is that not the problem of the system? Because, wait.
You will allow me to land on this.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Because what I am saying is that the provision of the Constitution is very clear. Section 36, subsection 5. A man is presumed innocent until proved guilty.
Yeah,
and that is a man that is charged with criminal offense. Atiku Abubakar has never been charged.
I don't disagree with that, offense. By the way.
Good. So allow politicians to play politics. I cited what Obasanjo said. Yeah. It was not anything within my personal knowledge.
Okay, but this is my response.
Good. You know, and it has been cleared.
Yeah, let me respond to that.
That is more political than legal or real.
Okay, let me respond to that so that we can take it forward and you can continue.
Go ahead.
You know, so what I was going to say is that
yes,
that same analysis is also correct for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, by the way.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So if we are using that as the yardstick to judge people's corruption, you know, whether corruptibility or whichever way we put it, we will not be covering the entire field. You know, because even President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that argument is being made by his supporters that, look, this guy was in opposition, you know, and everybody is saying, oh, he's corrupt, but they did not even. As a matter of fact, when they took him to, I think, the Code of Conduct thing, they had to withdraw the case and they couldn't. So it's the same, my point is that it's the same argument, you know, that is being made. But I don't think, in my view, and this is my view, Ken, and then you respond.
Yes.
I don't think that cures, you know, the issue that we have some of these folks that they have quite a bit of moral burden in terms of what they themselves have said and they have done. I don't think it cures it. The fact that they've not been tried. That's my view. But please proceed.
Now, I agree with you partially. Because comparing Bola Tinubu with any other Nigerian is an assault to our psyche. Honestly. Were you not here when we talked about the Chicago certificate? Where the Chicago State University dubbed his certificate as INEC certificate. It did not come from them. The Chicago State University. It was there, the position made. Now, were you not there when they said he reached a plea bargain whereby he forfeited $460,000? It was presented in the court as evidence. They did not counter it as that it did not exist. It was procedural issue, saying that it must be a trial against his person, not his property, and all of that technicalities. But they said it is a proceed from narcotic trafficking in the deposition. So the issue here, he was taken to the Code of Conduct. So you cannot compare apples and oranges with respect.
Okay.
And I agree with you that where there's prima facie evidence, somebody can use it. That's why nobody sued me for defamation. When I said that Obasanjo said in his book, because I was citing sources.
What you said.
And then I cannot tell you that it is within my personal knowledge that Atiku Abubakar has misappropriated, misapplied, or done anything that is in any way corrupt. He has challenged people that he is willing to waive his immunity to be investigated. And if he's found wanting, to be tried. And I've always argued with respect.
When he was in office?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, he was a vice president. He does not have any executive powers. Anything he would do must be by the approval of the president. Isn't it ridiculous that it is the president he served under that is writing that one in a book? I can tell you, it is impossible for an Oshibanjo to be corrupt and Buhari is not corrupt. It's impossible. Because the powers Oshibanjo is wielding is donated to him by the president. Being a spokesperson of another candidate then, I had the right to use it to achieve political advantage. But I can't go to court to prove it. Because it is flat. Legally, it is flat. In reality, it existed in political figments of imagination.
Exactly. Which actually was also saying that we cannot use those yardsticks. But let's move away from that. Now, you cited, the case of, specifically now the first $60,000
Yes. Forfeited.
Which Bola Ahmed
because it is proceeds of narcotic trading and trafficking.
In the US.
In US.
But also in the US,
Yes.
Ken, I want you to also respect.
Go ahead.
Because fair is fair.
Yes.
So there's also the Congressman Jefferson's case.
Yes.
Where it was also established that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, gave the guy cash, that was found in his in the man's fridge. And I think the man is, we have to check whether he's still in prison.
The appellate court has quashed that case.
No, I don't think so. In the US.
I'm telling you.
Look, so what happened?
He's a free man.
But we have to check that.
Good.
But what was said in that case, fair is fair,
Go ahead.
is that Atiku Abubakar gave the man cash of $100,000, which was found in his fridge. So whatever happens to the case, Ken,
yes,
that was recorded as a fact, and I don't think we can ignore that.
Good.
Can we?
You see, completely. Atiku Abubakar has been moving into the United States and coming out.
I'm not talking about his movement. I'm saying
that's
that happened.
The man has been freed by the appellate court. No, you can check.
But
check.
does that say that
on that
did not
particular
happen?
issue? Let me tell you.
No, that's what I want to tell me.
Let me tell you what happens. I don't want to go into details.
Okay.
Good. A lot of things happen in international relations. So, what a country may think somebody was, maybe a hair. I don't want to go into some specifics, but let me give you an example.
Okay.
Tinubu's government said they spent 9-point-something million to lobby. It was in the open. Was that a crime?
Well, I don't think it's a crime, but it's a...
And then you're saying that, assuming without conceding. No, that's what I'm saying. That what happens in international relation, I don't want to get into that. If America believes, or they believed, that any of such thing was breached, they know how to go about it.
The reason we have to bring that up is because you said that the first $60,000 of
it was tried. It was tried.
You are bringing it to the
plea bargain, and he.
So there is also
confession.
the counter that somebody said Atiku gave me $100,000 was from the fridge.
You said somebody said, and I told you that the person is cleared, and I did not hear when.
Whether the person is cleared or not,
I did not hear when.
It's a legal matter.
I did not hear when somebody said that Atiku did this or that. I told you that case, the congressman, the appellate court quashed it.
Okay.
And apart from that, Atiku Abubakar is a free man.
Okay.
And you're talking about United States. You're not giving me any judgment of any court.
Okay.
Against Atiku.
But
I gave you judgment.
Is the moral, is the moral implication. But let's move on.
Good.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Because we have other things, and I don't want us to be stuck there. So, in your new job, which you are doing excellently, by the way, I must say, even though I have my issues, but I think the guys that decided that you have to be the spokesperson, they must be very smart. They must be very smart, by the way. But I want to talk about it. They must be very smart.
Just as a matter of to chip in, Atiku is one of the smartest human beings I've met. You know what he wrote in the letter of appointment? He said, "This appointment reflects my confidence in your competence, in your public communication skills, in your integrity, in your political judgment, and in your ability to represent my public positions professionally and responsibly." So he acknowledges, just like what you said, he confirmed that I'm professional, I'm responsible, I have political judgments, political sagacity, and I have integrity, and I have competence and efficient public communication skill. He's a discoverer of talent. I was surprised when I read it because, I had been meeting with him for a while. He's been engaging me, I've been engaging him, and I saw how beautiful this great Nigerian is.
Excellent. And, and like I said, it's one issue that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, yourself and myself agree, clearly. But let's move.
We will agree on many of the things.
Of course.
Because you're a very brilliant guy.
Certainly.
You started losing your hair earlier because of brilliance.
Oh my God! What a balance of compliments and the little. But thank you so much, guys. I didn't make any pretensions, on the show, Ken. So I let the judge know that, if I'm friendly with somebody, I make it open. If I have, for instance, when I was speaking about Pastor Diboye, and I was asked, I told people that, look, before I make my comment, I have tremendous respect for this guy.
Yes.
This guy laid hands on me, so people can do their own discounting. But my views are my views.
Yes,
and it's the same thing.
You're a professional journalist.
With you, I make it clear.
Absolutely.
And then we still talk about our differences, and everything will be aired publicly.
True.
So now talking about your new job. So I wanted to ask you that in this new job that you had,
Yes.
The way we got to that point, you had publicly said that you would prefer Atiku to pick a Southeastern candidate.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you made it very clear that one of the reasons why you were supporting Atiku is because you believe that is the easiest way or the more politically guaranteed way for Southeast to come to presidency. And by the way, Ken, I must tell you that I also support that a Southeasterner has to come to the presidency, especially, since after this, the Civil War, although we've had a vice president who also did excellently, Dr. Alex Ekweme. I am also of the view, and this is where I agree with people like Chief Ayode Banjo that, look, we got to, as a country, we have to see how it is that we bring back, that important ethnic group. So, but now, Atiku has not picked a Southeasterner. By the way, for full disclosure, I think he made an excellent choice.
Okay.
I must say that too. For full disclosure, there's no point pretending.
Yes.
But your own position was that you should pick a Southeasterner so that a Southeasterner can be the president after him if he wins.
True.
Now that they have not done that, how, what can you explain to us, why you find that comfortable? And so when are we going to have a Southeastern president?
Very good. Now, let me tell you one thing expressly.
Okay.
In a democracy, victory is won based on structure and strategy, not sentiment.
True.
You just said he made an excellent choice within the materials that he has. When we went into the coalition, I made it clear that the only road or the easiest road to beat Tinubu is all the opposition parties, all the opposition leaders coming together under one umbrella.
But we're not having that, Ken.
That's what I'm saying. So within that context was when I said, you must pick someone from the Southeast, and he agreed. And when we had that arrangement, it was himself, P. Toby, and Amechi, that we are the people showing interest from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then Hayatuddin came last, as in now.
Yeah.
P2B left.
That's true.
If he hadn't left, of course, I must have to be honest with you. Even when I was agitating for that, he was the one I had in mind. That's why I said,
Oh, I see.
that's the truth. People did not know, but go behind.
Okay, but I don't think you've disclosed that.
No.
You're disclosing that for the first time.
Yes, go behind. People think I have any grouse against P2B. No. I want the best for him. After having been with him, I believe that he needs tutelage on the national level. Just like I'm telling you, that some of these people that have this, microscopic knowledge from where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So, and I said, okay, if he agrees, and I expressed my reservation that eventually he will leave. But I told them that if he agrees, let him go and contest for the presidency within the coalition. If he wins, everybody will support him, including myself. I made it public. This one was not. I said, whoever wins, I will support the person, including him.
Yeah.
Then if he does not win, I made it clear to them that the vice president post for him is not negotiable. Then we didn't have any other person from the Southeast. So when he left, we were thrown into confusion. But I still insisted that they should look for the Southeast. However, look at the impediment. Whoever you must consider would have been a member of ADC 21 days at least before that primary. They were mentioning some wonderful names. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Yeah.
Kingsley Moghalu. They even say Governor Oti. Some even say Governor Soludo. Wonderful people. But they're not members of ADC. So we are now, like disadvantaged. But I expected, and of course the name Amechi has some, similarity with the name Okonkwo. So, but I was just talking about geopolitical balancing.
Right.
So I'm like, even if you do not eventually pick Southeast, you have to give them the respect of calling all their leaders and telling them, look, these are my situation, these are my handicap. And that does not mean that my intention of being the gateway to Southeast president is aborted. So if you had done that and then explained, then people would have understood. But I was reliably informed, and of course, to my knowledge, he was not in Nigeria. And remember, the timelines are still, encroaching.
Right.
Where you will upload, where you do that. So then there has to be an announcement.
Okay.
So I raised objection to it because I'm a man that acts from my heart. So I raised objection to it. And look at the matured democratic way he handled it.
How?
I was aware.
How did he handle it?
Good. He reached out to everybody, including me. I was aware that to be a spokesperson was already there for me. And I was willing to give up everything if Southeast is not considered. And he was like, because he had told me before.
You said that publicly?
Good. He had told me before. He said, your kind is rare. That he does not understand in modern Nigeria where somebody is willing to give up all his personal benefits for his people. And rather than vilifying me, it was making him to like me the more. I was even surprised. And then he reached out, say, look, I'm not around. Time is encroaching. If I come back, I will still do the needful. And when he came back, he started negotiating. He started, you can see Amechi going to all the people that are involved so that all of us will go together as one body. And I became more impressed about him. So this is a man, he was not just mouthing that he's a Democrat. He is truly a Democrat. That even when I expressed such dissatisfaction, he didn't say, throw him away. He said, no, his reservations are genuine. Go and negotiate with him. And when everything is placed on the table, you will see that he didn't have any choice.
Interesting.
So I am happy with all the resolutions, and I came back with all my mind more refreshed, more believing in him and believing in a better Nigeria under him.
Okay. And we're going to have more opportunities to talk about what it is that Atiku can do differently in the circumstances, even though there are those who say that, look, why don't we have, I don't think you answered that question.
Good. Let me briefly touch
Why don't
on
we
it.
have somebody fresh? Can't we have
Good.
new people, new blood?
Very good. Laolu, being honest, there was a time, and I'm being strictly honest, there was a time I said 3 of them should step down. I said it.
The three
of them.
Being
Tinubu, Atiku,
and
Mitobi. There was a time I said 3 of them should step down.
Okay.
But then, you just said that only 3 of them now came out. That is why I'm telling my people, Southeast, if you stay in your house and you're crying anything and you don't come out, there is nothing even God can do. Even in heavens, when there was controversy towards achieving something, they say, who will go for us?
You're very right. Absolutely.
So eventually, 3 of them are the ones that we don't have the choice to choose. And 3 of them are, if you tell me they are standing on the same pedestal, they are above 60.
That's what that.
60 is the retirement age for civil servants. So none of them will claim that he's younger than the other.
Well,
3 of them are on the same pedestal now. So what we are saying is
60 and is close to 80. Ken, come on.
No. Whatever it is, if you are in the civil service, you are retired.
Yeah.
Oh, good. The question now is who is better amongst the 3?
It's interesting.
And I'm presenting to Nigerians, having had an idea of 3 of them, that Atiku Abubakar, by his nationalistic tendencies, by his experience on the macro and micro level, by his negotiating skills and ability to reach compromise democratically, which he has formulated over a while, by his industry, by his sagacity, is better than 3 of them.
Okay. I think I've also said it that is the guy you work with, Obasanjo, has a different perspective, and you responded that, hey, Obasanjo's view is just
but the Laulu, on a friendly personal note, Atiku is this, Atiku is that. He was a governor. He had won his election. You went and compared him to be your vice. You had a choice of using another person in the second term. You still went and
since you brought that one up,
yes.
Atiku had the control of the party by the second time.
God bless you.
And what we know is that Obasanjo had to beg Atiku, which is part of the reason why it seems that the man has not forgotten forgiving him.
Thank you very much for saying that.
As a matter of fact,
the vice president has control of the party. Do you have control of the party if you're not a good man?
And honestly, Ken, I think that was Atiku's best opportunity.
You know what Atiku told me?
And he lost it.
I don't know whether I should do this gossip to you. Don't try my job.
Okay.
But let me gossip to you. He said one of his ambitions is to ensure, his gossip, but don't tell anybody, that he transits power to the younger generation.
Okay. We see how that goes. What happens with it? Let's move on because our time is fast spent. That's a national gossip. Now, I want you to talk before our time goes about this scandal of a fictitious, that's what Mr. Onuga called it, the presidential spokesperson, a fictitious presidential agency. Now, if you look at the first statement that they made about that Mr. Onuga made, I think about a week ago, he said that the Presidential Foreign Intervention Council, whom Presidential Economic Advisory Council are fictitious. But it turns out, and I know, that the Presidential Economic Advisory Council does exist. And I said that publicly. Now, I think they've pushed back. They've now removed that to now say that it's the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council that is fictitious. But my point is that, or the question I want to ask you is that, what, in your own view, is the more compelling case against public probity that you have seen in that scandal? Because the presidency says that actually Mr. Gbaja is a whistleblower.
Well, that matter is really a sore point to us as a nation and an embarrassment to whatever government stands for. You see, they are trying to fix a nomenclature to what is happening, and they are failing by the day. Like you said, some people say fictitious. Sorry. Fictitious is something that is non-existent. Like you rightly pointed out, it exists. It exists right there in the Federal Secretariat. Not in Ogbomosho. In the Federal Secretariat. It takes a process for you to be allocated a place in the Federal Secretariat. So you cannot use the word fictitious. They've used the word fake. Sorry. It cannot be fake. Fake means there's original somewhere that you're faking. Why you cannot have fake 250 naira? Because there's no original. So it cannot be fake.
Yeah, 250 naira notes.
Yes. So all their nomenclature has failed. You know why? Because they are masking the truth. The truth is straightforward and simple.
Namely,
it is the incompetence, the corruption, the complacency, the complicity, and the criminality of some officials of government that brought about the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council. That is the truth they want to hide. We're trying to spin up nomenclature that does not exist. Why did I say that? The person the Constitution bestowed with the power and right to write the budget is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 81, subsection 1 and 2. Say the President shall cause to be prepared and laid before the National Assembly the estimates of the revenue and expenditure for the financial year. And the head of every expenditure shall be put in a bill called appropriation bill and be approved by the National Assembly. For the mere fact that you saw that agency in the budget means that the principal, who is a disclosed principal, has ratified it, even if there is no express approval. The law of agency means that if an agent holds himself out to act for a known principal, the principal has ratified it. Anybody who dealt with that person in the name of dealing with Nigeria in the Federal Secretariat has the right to claim damages. Because that is the official place that government officials are allowed to stay
and run business.
So let me tell you my own opinion. Some corrupt officials of government raised up that agency in order to use it to siphon the money of government.
Wow.
My own opinion. Because everything about that agency got the approval
that was necessary.
Found itself 1.3 billion naira, found itself in the budget of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, let me name you the official positions that are complicit, complacent, and should be probed criminally. The SGF would have to determine who has an office in the Secretariat. The Budget Office, that is if the President is claiming ignorance of it, which he cannot because he read it. It is his budget. The Budget Office, who put the name there in the budget? The National Assembly is to make law and to oversight. How does an agency it did not create, an agency it was not informed it exists, find itself in the budget? What is the degree of the oversight function in it? They're talking about the Accountant General making provisions for money, maybe giving clearance to open accounts. Because I heard there is up to 34 bank accounts. We are talking about the Central Bank of Nigeria that I heard open that account to look at how many officers. And you're telling me it's fictitious? You're telling me stories?
What about the Chief of Staff? What do you think about the Chief of Staff?
The Chief of Staff is a private secretary to the President. So his culpability will be, was he the person?
Because the guy
that signed? Absolutely. So the person has to prove, because he's not an officer, he's not the one to give any permission. If the Chief of Staff contributed in facilitating the guy to penetrate the presidency, knowing that it is not genuine. And there's no way it couldn't have been genuine because he was there with ambassadors. He went there shaking hands and snapping pictures with members of the National Assembly. So the truth is that where the president is getting it wrong is that whoever is mentioned in this, from his chief of staff, whoever is involved in all these offices should be made to step aside while the investigation was going on. It is immaterial whether they are guilty or not. Because like I said, that's why I use the word incompetence. So even if you're not guilty in corrupt practices, you're guilty of incompetence. And incompetent people should not be allowed to be in government. Let me give you the case of Babachiri Lawal. And I'm giving this case because you were in government. When there was an allegation against him, the President Buhari had to tell him to step aside. Not that he was guilty then. As a matter of fact, the court eventually cleared him. But so that unfettered investigation will be carried out. But going by that,
Buhari was very reluctant to do that.
you know, reluctant. Good.
But he did it.
But he did it.
Yeah.
So President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, if he wants to tell us he is not complicit, what he would do is to tell all these officers in the line of duty where this thing happened to step aside. And then, so that ICPC, you can't tell me that they don't have any power to influence investigation. You'll be joking. They do.
They do.
So they should step aside so that investigation will be carried out. So who is telling you why you're blowing whistle? You're blowing whistle when match is finished. You go to the field. Blowing whistle to who?
Okay.
Okay. What the allegation by Matthew is that it is sharing formula that brought the crisis. And when that allegation came, you're blowing whistle. Which whistle are you blowing?
Interesting. Anyway,
You should be subjected to investigation.
I agree with you.
And let all of them step aside. And the National Assembly should be thinking about impeaching all their officers. Because they are part of this. How can you? The only reason you're being paid by taxpayers is to do the law, make the law, and oversight. And you're not doing it. What are you doing? And leadership is everything.
It's even interesting.
You should consider resigning.
That even the opposition people in the National Assembly, including members of your party, they're not raising hell about these things.
Now,
they're not raising hell.
Very good. You see, I'm sure they are embarrassed. When you are in the minority, and the other side has more than 2/3 majority, you can even be shut down not to talk.
Anyway, we talk about
it is, you know.
Because,
it is. And if I must confess, most of them that belong to our party now, we inherited them.
All right.
I'm
surprised that we've already spent 1 hour, and we have a few other issues. But, this is going to be a continuing conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your voice. Thank you for speaking from the heart. And I wish that we have more politicians, more people in politics who have this kind of conviction. And thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you.
All right. And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. It means that Nigeria will win, partly because we will push the major issues. Thank you for watching. My name is Laolu Akonde. And by the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.